We'll start with the prayers. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are doing Taittriya Upanishad, Shankara Bhashyam, the second chapter, titled Brahmanandavalli. We are in the sixth Anuvaka, and it's a very interesting portion we are discussing now. And that portion is called as Anupravesha Stuti. Anupravesha means entry of the reality, which is called as Brahman, into this world during the Jagrata Avastha, and withdrawal of this world into Brahman in this Sushupti Avastha. Jagrat means waking, Sushupti means sleep. There is a reality which is not seen by the eyes, which is not known perceptually, it is not possible. It is not possible through any Pratyaksha Pramanam or any of Anumana Pramanam or the six Pramanams which we are normally dealing with in the Laukika world. It is revealed only by the Upanishads. The source of this knowledge that there exists something in which the world is manifesting and the world is unmanifesting. When I say the world, it means our body-mind complex also. This is a very unique knowledge. It is a secret of the universe. How does the universe exist? How does the universe dissolve? This secret knowledge is given out only in the Upanishads. So if you study the 10 or 12 Upanishads or any Upanishad, this secret will be revealed to you. One of the best Upanishads to know this Tattvam, this principle called as Brahman, is Taittriya Upanishad. Because it deals directly with our experience of our body-mind complex and the world. Our experiences are divided into 5 koshas. The dresses which are worn by this Brahman or Atma in order to experience this world, there are 5 dresses. Annamaya kosha, Pranamaya kosha, Manomaya kosha, Vijnanamaya kosha, Anandamaya kosha. These are the sheets, these are the dresses, the coverings for Brahman. Who am I? Aham Brahma Asmi. That is the knowledge of the Veda. I am that reality in which the whole universe is manifesting and the whole universe goes into unmanifest condition. We can never know this by the study of science. The only proof is the Veda. How to apply that knowledge and get ourselves free from this body-mind complex is the whole message of Taittriya Upanishad. Today, I am inside this body experiencing the world. How to get out of this body into a reality which is existing, which is consciousness principle, which is blissful principle. If I can do that by this study, then I can attain immortality, because that is immortal. Brahman is immortal. Jiva is mortal. This Jiva who is in this body who is thinking that he is mortal, he has to become free of this notion in the mind through the study of Upanishads and claim his immortal nature. This is the process. This is the spiritual journey. All the Upanishads we discuss is whether it is Kaivalya Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, Keno Upanishad, which we have covered so far, all the Upanishads have the same purpose. With this background, let us see where we stopped last week. And this is where we stopped in this slide 656. We are discussing a very important shloka, which is the second chapter, sixth section, the third mantra. I will show you that mantra later, but that is the section we are discussing, which is called as Anupravesha Stuti. Anupravesha means entry of Brahman into this world and into this body. All these Shankara's commentaries are available in Anupravesha Stuti in different Upanishads. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 147. Taittriya Upanishad, first chapter, third section. Chandogya Upanishad, sixth chapter, third section. And Taittriya, this second chapter, sixth Anuvaka, third mantra. All these mantras are dealing with how that reality enters the world, experiences the world, and resolves the world into itself. Anupravesha means Bhagavan entered the universe. It is when we say entered, it is not a physical entry, but it is a seeming entry. In the end of our discussion today, that is what we will be seeing. Why do we say it is seeming entry? Because Brahman is all-pervading principle. Suppose it is all-pervading, there is no motion possible. All-pervading means what? Like the space. Can you have space traveling anywhere? Not possible. Space is everywhere. You cannot say that space has entered space. Space cannot travel anywhere else. So similarly is this Brahman. So entry is possible where moving into a place where you are not. Two reasons why we say physical entry is not possible for Brahman is because one, Brahman is all pervading. There is no place where Brahman is not. Any part of the universe you go, Brahman is there because it is the Sat principle, existence principle. Suppose you say, I exist, that existence is what is Brahman. The desk exists. That Sat principle of the desk or the computer or the mouse or the phone or the light, whatever it is, the whole existence principle of this entire universe is Brahman. World borrows existence from this Brahman. That is how Veda describes Brahman. That is one reason. The second reason is entry involves movement, motion, which is not possible in Brahman because it is all-pervading. So, Vachyartham of entry we cannot take. Vachyartham means direct meaning of entry we cannot take. What can we take then? If Vachyartham is not possible, then we have to take Lakshyartham. Lakshyartham means it is an indicative meaning. Now, Shankaracharya discusses what are the suggestions by others. In the next 20 slides, you will find different viewpoints on Brahman, how the entry takes place. Different opponents, they suggested a few ways in which this entry is possible. Then Shankaracharya will come back and say, all your reasons is faulty because you are considering actual physical entry. You are taking the Vachyartha, but what you should take is the Lakshyartha. Shankara's question to the opponent is, if Lord created and then entered, tell me what comes first, creation or entry? Suppose you say, having taken bath, Rama performed puja. There are two actions involved, bath and puja. So is this process a sequential process or is it simultaneous process? He goes into some grammatical discussions in the beginning because of one Purva Paksha, one opponent who goes into this sequence and simultaneous nature of entry. Ishvara, this is what Purva Paksha says. Ishvara created and entered based on Tva Pratyaya. Tva Pratyaya means what? In the actual verse, there is Tva Pratyaya Srishtva is used. Srishtva. Srishtva here, Srishtva means it is Tva is there in Srishti Prakriya, which gives the message of two sequential actions by the same person. That means he created first and then he entered. Ishvara is the Upadana Karanam. Like clay is the material cause for the pot, material cause entering clay is the production of pot. This is the way the Purva Pakshi is describing. See, when you study Bhashyam, these are the portions which you will never get in normal study of Upanishads. This opponent, this debate which comes, that makes us go deeper into the meaning of the Upanishads. Then Shankaracharya asks, after completing the creation, can you enter? When product comes into existence, in the product, the material cause is already there. So existence of the product is only because of material cause. So he says creation and entry are not two separate processes. When you are taking two actions, Upadana Karanam can't do two actions separately. When Karanam is Nimittam, is the intelligent cause, then I can create, build, and enter. That is what Shankaracharya says. Then the Purva Pakshi comes back and says, Bhagavan entering after creation is illogical. Why? If Brahman is accepted as Upadana Karanam, all products exist in the material cause. What he says is the easiness comes from clay only. When pot is created, clay is already inside, lending existence to the pot. So the Karanam is the content of Karyam. Karanam means cause. Karyam means product. So Karanam clay is the content of the product. Clay alone appears in the form of all pots. That is what the Purva Pakshi says. You are talking as if the Karanam and Karyam are two separate things, but what Purva Pakshi says is it is one and the same. So at the time of creation itself, Brahman is already there. That is what he wants to say. Okay? Then So then Shankaracharya says that suppose you assume that clay has got two versions. One is the wet version, another is the dry powder version. If it has got two versions, then it can be separated and say that the wet portion becomes the pot and the dry portion remains. So suppose we say Brahman also has two parts. One part is the inert part, the prapancha, the whole universe, which is achetana. Another part is chetana, jiva rupa. The jiva rupa enters the universe. That is what the Purva Pakshi is suggesting. All this will be summarized and all this will be rejected. He quotes this Chandogya Upanishad that entering into three deities, that means the Agni, Jalam and Prithvi, the Lord said, I shall manifest as the universe. This is the Chandogya Upanishad which the Purva Pakshi quotes. So Purva Pakshi asked Shankaracharya, what is wrong in my suggestion? Then Shankaracharya replies that Brahman doesn't have any parts. It is ekam. It has got no differences at all. Sajatiya bheda nasti. Vijatiya bheda nasti. Swagata bheda nasti. It doesn't have any differences in its own self because it doesn't have any parts, like the hands are different than the legs and the leg is different than the head. Brahman is one uniform consciousness, existence principle, which exists, which is all-pervading principle, one. So the definition of Brahman is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Therefore, there is no question of Brahman having inert portion, Brahman having the Chetana portion, because Brahman, there is no place where Brahman is not there. Okay, that is the reply to another opponent. This portion of the slide is just the revision portion. I will skip it, but I just want to show you the verse in which we are discussing now. This is the verse which we are discussing. He desired, Brahman desired that I shall become many and be born. That is the word which we are trying to analyze. I will become many. I will manifest and unmanifest this whole universe. Then it says he created it and he entered into it. This is the portion we are discussing in very big detail, where Shankara spends a lot of analytical work, logical analysis is being done. So we have seen Sajatiya, Vijatiya, Brahma, this Veda doesn't exist. Therefore, entry is not possible for Brahman. In Brahman, both are not possible. Entry as well as creation is not possible because of finitude and movement are not there in Brahman. So he discusses the wrong suggestions by asking another question to the Purva Pakshi. See, this is a very important question which Shankaracharya asked the opponent, because all the opponents are making a mistake. What is the mistake they are making? They are thinking that Brahman is a parinami karanam. Parinami means what? It is a changing cause. Visishta Advaitin accept Brahman as nimitta and upadana karana. The Dvaitin accepts Brahman only as the nimitta karana. Nimitta means intelligent cause only. He doesn't accept that Lord became the universe. He only says Lord accepts Lord created the universe. Dvaitins. Dvaitin means what? People who say that the Lord is separate, world is separate. There are two things which exist in the universe. But what is the Advaiti's viewpoint on creation? He says there is only one changeless cause. This point is extremely important when you study Upanishads and you're trying to be in the spiritual journey, you're trying to discover that Brahman. This point you should remember. What is the meaning of Vivarta Karanam? Vivarta Karanam means it is a changeless cause. Very, very important portion of understanding the Upanishads. If it is a changing material cause, it will be like milk getting converted into yogurt. Product is as real as the cause. Yogurt is real, milk is real, world is real, Brahman is also real. That means there are two realities, Dvaitin. Okay? That is the Parinami Karanam, changing cause. The cause itself changes. Milk changes to become yogurt. Brahman changes to become the world. What is the Advaitin saying? He says it is not changing. It is like the rope snake. The rope does not change to become rope snake. It is only a seeming change. Product karyam is less real than the cause. What is the cause? Rope. What is rope snake? It is pratibhasika satyam. It is in the mind. Error in the mind. A rope is taken as rope snake. Similarly, Brahman is taken as the world. That is what Shankaracharya is trying to explain. See, these portions are technical. When you understand the technical analysis, then you can understand the Upanishad better. Without this technical analysis, you will be groping in the dark. How can I be Brahman? Is it ever possible? How can I be out of this body? Is it ever possible? Have I ever experienced it? These are the questions which will come into our mind. Because we have taken ourselves to be the body. To get rid of this notion in the intellect, we have to do technical analysis like this. And this type of analysis is only done in Bhashya. Nowhere else. And only in the Upanishad you will be able to realize your real nature. Initially, when we enter into these type of studies, we will find it slightly abstract in nature. But as you study the Bhashyam more and more, slowly your mind will start accepting, and also it will become more purer to accept the reality as described in these technical analysis. Okay. Okay, this we have already discussed. The world is like a pot and entry and all that we have discussed. So Shankaracharya says that it is not possible because Brahman is one, which is Ekam. It is partless. There's no parts in Brahman. Therefore, your suggestion that Brahman created and entered, one portion created, another portion entered, that is not possible. So Siddhantin negates all the suggestions. And then, how does he explain this? Okay, before we go to that, there is one more question by another Purva Bakshi. That is what is explained here. Suppose Brahman is endowed with parts. Suppose we say Devadatta is eating with two parts, big mouth and hands. That means the hands are going into the mouth and therefore he is eating. So is it like that with Brahman also? Is it two parts? Again, Shankaracharya denies that Brahman is partless. This is another Purva Pakshi who comes in between. Atma is not absent anywhere. Atma is like space. It is everywhere. So Brahman as Jiva could not have entered at all. It is only a seeming entry. That is what Shankara keeps on saying in the end. But I'm trying to tell you now itself, so that you can get rid of all these objections by the Purva Pakshi. Then there's one more suggestion, whether there is a Karya entry into another Karya entry. That means a product itself enters into another product. Forget about the cause entering. Can we say that the product enters into a product? Brahman created the world and entered the world. Is it like that? Again, what is a wrong suggestion by the Purva Pakshi? Brahman entered Jiva as Karyam. Karyam Jiva entered Karyam Shariram. Can we take it like this? Look at the way he is suggesting. Brahman entered Jiva and Jiva is Karyam. Then that Jiva entered the Shariram. Can we take it that the one Karyam enters another Karyam? Jiva, the product, merges into Shariram, the product. Is this possible? This is one of the suggestions by the Purva Pakshi. Again, it is not possible. If that was the case, then the Jiva can never leave the body. Suppose the Jiva merges with the Shariram, you will never see Jiva leaving the body. That is the reply given by Shankaracharya. It is illogical. It is against Pratyaksha Anubhava. A product merges into Karanavastha, not another Karya. All products, they merge into Karanavastha. A Karyam will go into Karanam. A Karyam cannot go into Karyam. That is what is the reply given by Shankaracharya. So Jiva merging into Shariram is not possible. Jiva merging into Jagat is also not possible because it is against the Shruti Vakyas. Jiva and Sharira Bheda exists. The difference between Jiva and Shariram, there is a difference. We will explain how it is as we go by. So how Brahman enters universe? Is it in his own form or is it in another form? Brahman enters in two forms like inert version and sentient version. Not possible. Brahman has got two parts for entry. That is not possible. Brahman enters as Jiva and the Jiva enters the body. That is not possible. Okay. So all these revelations are based on Shruti Vakyam and Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha means what we see through our eyes. Okay, Shruti restates whatever is already experienced by us. So there is a verse in Brihadanaka Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita which says that Jiva Sharira Bheda is there. You will understand when I go to the verse. In Brihadanaka Upanishad, this is the mantra which says that the organs are different, completely they are different than the presiding deity. When the organs itself, for example, the eyes are different than the power which exists in the eyes. The power is called as the Devata. So if this is the case, then the Jiva is separate from the body. Very simple verse which you can appreciate better will be Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, there is a verse which is the 15th chapter, very beautiful chapter. 15th chapter is a wonderful chapter which is always sung before eating the food. The whole chapter is sung, is chanted generally, because it is a very powerful chapter. In that chapter, Lord Krishna says, Mamaivamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manashashtanendriyani prakrisistani karshati. When you see this mantra in this context, you will appreciate this mantra better. What does it say? What is Bhagavan telling Arjuna? He says, an eternal portion of myself, having become the soul in the world of life, abiding in Prakriti, draws the five sense organs with the mind and the mind as the sixth. This is a proof, say, that at the moment of death, what happens? The indriyas come out of physical body. Indriyas means what? The power behind all our sense organs. The sense organs are in the body. The golakams are in the body. See, that is how you should understand creation. Creation is not only at the gross level, there are two other levels we should appreciate. The second level is Sukshma Shariram. It's a higher level. Beyond the Sukshma Shariram, there is a Karana Shariram. That is a still higher level. And beyond this Karana Shariram, there is Brahman. There is the reality. So in this particular verse, the Jiva, which is connected with the Indriyas, it leaves the body. Therefore, if it is leaving the body, it is different. The Jiva is different than the body. The Indriyas are different than the body. And what is the body? Body is only Sthula Shariram. The Sukshma Shariram drops the Sthula Shariram. Therefore, the Purva Paksha, the opponent, is wrong when he says that Jiva is merged with the Shariram during creation. Suppose Jiva is merged, Shankaracharya puts another argument. Suppose you say, okay, fine. Let us assume Jiva has become the body and it has merged with the body. Then he says, Jiva can never get moksha. Moksha means freedom from death and the birth cycle of a body. So if the Jiva has merged and become one with the body, there is no moksha possible. Therefore, in the Veda, when the Veda says there are four Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, if Moksha is not there, that means Veda is proved wrong. Then the whole purpose of spiritual journey is wasted. So therefore, Jiva Chaitanyam principle cannot be one with the body. See, all this analysis will help us to understand that Chaitanyam principle. Why are we going through all this? To understand that Chaitanyam in my body is totally different than the body. It is a sentient principle. It is the knowing principle, the knower. It is the Chaitana principle, not the Achetana. Achetana portion is what we are trying to drop. In all these discussions, we are trying to drop the Achetana inert portion of the world and claim the Chetana portion. Claiming the gold by keeping the chain in front. For example, you have a chain and a ring and a bangle. In all the three, gold is common. Similarly, in between the Jiva and the Jagat, there is a Sat aspect and a Chit aspect. This Sat Chit aspect, we have to separate it and say that that is his mind, that is the reality. Okay, this portion which I just now explained is extremely important. Try to think about it, contemplate on this, because this is the whole purpose of our entire spiritual journey. We are going to keep the same world. Our experiences are going to remain the same. Tomorrow morning also you will wake up, you will also go through your experiences of the world. But in and through these experiences, we have to say, I am Sat Chit Ananda Tattvam. Okay, that is the ultimate purpose. But to do that is all this analysis. There is another Purva Paksha who says, but this Purva Paksha is he says, Brahman transforms into a container and a content. Container is the Shariram and the content is the Jiva. Tadeva anupravishat tat srishtva. Jiva created the body and Brahman created the body and Brahman became the Jiva. This is what the Purva Pakshi which we discussed just now. For example, the coconut tree transforms into the coconut shell and also the coconut water which exists inside the coconut shell. Can we take it like that? No. Again, what? Jiva, Brahman doesn't have any parts to become Jiva and Shariram. Brahman is integral part of Jiva and body. There is no question of any entry. Entry is possible if it is outside, it is not there. Then you can say if outside first or then I enter. For example, you enter a house. You enter a house is separate and the body is separate. Therefore, it is possible for you to enter the house. Graha Prahavesham. But in the case of Brahman, it is not possible because Brahman is everywhere. That is the fundamental argument of Shankaracharya. What Shankaracharya uses is this particular verse, which is very, very famous verse of Kaivalya Upanishad. Mayeva sakalam jatam, mai sarvam pratishthitam, mai sarvam layam yati, tad brahma advayam asmayam. What is this verse says? In me alone, in me means what? In me, the Brahman alone, everything is born. Everything here means the whole universe is born. In me alone, the whole universe exists. And in me alone, the whole universe dissolves. Who am I? I am that non-dual Brahman. Why do we call it non-dual? Because one is Satyam, another is Mithya. World is Mithya, Brahman is Satyam. This verse of Kaivalya Upanishad is the central message of Kaivalya Upanishad. Central message. If you want to know what is Kaivalya Upanishad, you should know this mantra. Similarly, Taittriya Upanishad, if you want to know what is Taittriya Upanishad, you should know 263. Chapter 2, 6, which we are doing now. Okay? This is what I was explaining to you, Graha Pravesha. After building the house, Graha Pravesha is possible because the house is different than the person who is entering. Brahman is available in the Sukshma Shariram of Jiva. Jiva Atmana Anupravashya, extension of first is subtler in this Upanishad. What are the steps which are occurring in the mind? First is the formation of Chidavas. See, in our mind, what happens? This is the process of our experience. First, there is a formation of Chid Abhas. Chidabhasa means it is a reflection of that consciousness in the mind. Then the mind becomes sentient. See, this portion is extremely important because this tells you how we are experiencing the world. There is Brahman. See, try to understand this. This chart is extremely important. There is Brahman. There is sentient. Brahman means what? It is a sentient principle. Sentiency means what? Knowingness. What is the meaning of knowingness? Can the table know that it exists? No. Can a chair know that it is there? No. Can I know that I exist? Yes. What is the difference between a table, chair, and this body? If you ask, this body is a conscious entity. How is this consciousness coming to the body? Is it a permanent feature of the body? No. If it is the permanent feature of the body, no study is possible in the Veda of how to separate the consciousness and the body. So it is not intrinsic to the body. So if it is not intrinsic, how do I understand that I am a sentient, conscious being? This is the way we understand. There is a super waker who is always conscious. That is what I'm trying to reach, that super waker status, which is called as Brahman. That super waker status is conscious. Now that is getting reflected in the mind, my mind. My mind means what? This body has a mind. When it gets reflected, the body becomes sentient. Like the bulb gets the sentiency from the electricity. Bulb by itself is not sentient. Electricity going through the bulb makes the bulb glow, and then we can experience light everywhere. Similarly, our mind is like this bulb. It has got the tungsten. It has got the power to become conscious every day. In sleep, we drop this power and become one with that consciousness. So sentient mind creates the self-awareness in us. I am there. Then I see the world. So only when I am there, as when I'm aware of the self, then only the world is seen. Dakshinamurti Stotram number 3, verse number 3, Nanachit Ghato Darasthita Maha Deepak Prabhavaswaram. That verse is exactly what we are trying to understand. So self-awareness is expressed as what? Aham. As soon as you wake up, what do I say? What do I say? The first thing which your mind automatically says is, I am there. That I is born, it manifests, it unmanifests. This portion you should understand in your own body-mind complex. That is what is called as spiritual realization. You're trying to realize the spiritual content in this body-mind complex. This spiritual content is all-pervading. Everywhere it is there. In the mind, we get a mixture of Chidabhasa, which is the reflection of the Chit, and then there is a mind portion. Mind is like the mirror, which can reflect your face. Mind is the medium in which the reflection happens of that consciousness principle. What is the meaning of moksha here? Moksha means the jiva realizes that I am the one, not with the mind and with the body, but I am the original Chit. I am the awareness principle itself. This is slightly abstract, but try to understand. This is a very deep understanding of Taittriya Upanishad. I'm going to the depth of Taittriya Upanishad to make this clear, how I can remove the 5 koshas, and understand I am something beyond these five koshas, which is called as awareness, which is called as Sakshi Chaitanyam. Whenever I see the body, there is a Sakshi, there is a witness principle to this body. That witness principle is my real nature. Sakshi consciousness gets the name Sakshi when it is available in the mind with reflection of that awareness. Can you see the meaning of Sakshi now? We use the word Sakshi many times in our study. What is the meaning of that Sakshi? Sakshi is the original consciousness. When it is a part of this mind, it becomes Sakshi. Suppose the body and the mind is not available. The Sakshyam, the witnessed is not available. That Sakshi itself is called as Brahman. Sakshi is the name of Chit. That is what is being explained here. It is the name of Chit obtaining in the mind along with the reflection of that consciousness. Brahman is available as Sakshi in self-awareness. Are you all aware of yourself? Yes, 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 I'm aware of myself. That awareness is what is Brahman. See, we are trying to understand the difference between an inert body and a sentient jiva. The difference is awareness. The difference is the consciousness. That consciousness is expressing as is, I am. That I am is the reality. This is the end of the Upanishad, where the Upanishad is trying to drop the body and trying to reveal the self. That is why this section is the most important section in the whole Taittriya Upanishad. Once you've understood this, the second chapter is very easy. This is the central portion of the whole Taittriya Upanishad, consisting of so many anuvakas, so many verses. 263, this is the most important, and the 221, the first mantra, both are very, very important mantras in the whole Upanishad. See, this 211 is what I was telling you as another very important. This where it says that the knower of Brahman, knower of this awareness principle, he becomes immortal. Because he has known the cause. You see, why? See, if you know the cause, you know the product. The whole, the cause of this entire experiences of five kosha is this Brahman. Okay? That is this is the most, like I said, this, if you understand this, you have understood the whole Upanishad. Now, Brahman's entry is in twofold form. This is Shankaracharya's explanation of what is the meaning of entry. When the Upanishad says the Lord entered the universe after creating the universe, Shankaracharya interprets this as it is not an actual entry, it is a seeming entry. I'll explain to you how. For example, Chidabhasa Rupena Brahma enters the mind. That pure consciousness enters all our minds in the form of reflection. This is one way of explaining the entry. This method is called as Abhasa Vada. Abhasa means reflection theory. Very, very famous. When you do Vedanta, you should know these two theories. And how it is understood is explained here beautifully. After doing all this analysis of entry, now we are trying to understand the truth as explained by Shankaracharya for this mantra 263. He says you can understand this in two ways. One, it is a reflection. The second is it is not a real entry, it is a seeming entry. What is the meaning of that? Brahman enters the mind as Sakshi Chaitanyam, means whenever the mind is awake, Brahman becomes Sakshi. Sannidhi Matrena. Sannidhi Matrena means what? In Sanskrit, it means Upahita Chaitanya, enclosed Chaitanya. This theory is called as Avachedavada. Very important to understand, because if you understand these two nature of Brahman, one, it says that Brahman is enclosed in the Shariram. Whenever the mind wakes up, it gets a reflection. You can call it reflection. It is already there. Brahman is already there. It is enclosed. It is an enclosed Chaitanya. Okay. So if the first entry as Chidabhasa doesn't take place, availability of Sakshi is not possible. Brahman has entered means Brahman obtains in the mind as Sakshi the Tvam Pada Lakshyabha. What is the meaning of Tvam Pada Lakshya? Tvam means I, you, the body-mind complex. That's what the teaching is. When the Upanishad says, you are not the body, you are the body means it is Vachya. You are not the body, but your consciousness means it is Lakshya. Indicative meaning of you. When the Upanishad tells me, I am not the body, I am the consciousness principle, this is what is the meaning behind this statement. This formation of reflection in the body is Brahman's entry into Karyam. See, this is a very important statement. Like the sun can enter into the bowl of water and form a reflection. Is it an actual entry? No, it is a reflection. Similarly, in our mind, there is a reflection of that consciousness. That reflection is what I am trying to understand in this state. So Chandogya and Brihadaranyaka Upanishad talks about this Anupravesha Shruti. I've given you the references when I started the talk. You can go back, if you're interested, you can go back and study that portion also. So, which are the three Upanishads which are talk about this entry of Brahman into this world? Number one, Taittriya Upanishad. Number two, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Number three, Chandogya Upanishad. So, Shankaracharya, in all the advanced Vedanta texts like Vichara Sagara, this Abhasavada, reflection theory, and Avachedavada, the Upahita Chaitanyam, enclosed Brahman, these two theories are discussed in much more detail. I have just covered a little portion here, but you can study more in Vichara Sagara. Okay. So Shankaracharya accepts both, in Vedanta, we accept both this theory as the entry of the pure consciousness into the universe. Because this reflection only, we say that the world is mithya. Reflection means mithya. Suppose you say reflection in a mirror. That mirror, it is an incidental thing. That is why it is called as mithya. You can see the reflection of your face in the mirror. Can you take the reflection of your face in the mirror as real? No. So similarly, when we say that I am, the world itself is mithya, Jagan mithyatvam, Brahma satyam, Jagan mithya. This is where you have to understand this statement. That Jagan mithyatvam is because of this nature of consciousness, which is available in the universe either in a reflected form or in an enclosed form. But this is not the reality. The reality is always separate. It is always independent of this reflection. Okay, so this is the essence behind all these sections. All the wrong suggestions are refuted by Shankaracharya, and so basically you have to understand it is a seeming entry. Okay, it is not a real entry, but it is a seeming entry. That seeming entry is called as abhasa. Okay, that is why we have this coined words called as a word which is called as chit abhasa. Okay, chit abhasa. It is a reflection of that chit. Here in this section, the focus is on the sakshi, on the chit aspect. And this is a very beautiful section. And also there is in Anubhuti Prakasha. Anubhuti Prakasha is a text written by Swami Vidyaranya, who is the author of Panchadasi, very great Acharya. He has also written a commentary on Taittriya Upanishad. And all the Upanishad he has written a commentary. We saw his commentary initially when we did Mundaka Upanishad and also Kena Upanishad. We saw some of the portions there. So we have finished Brahma Vida Apnoti Param Yoveda Nitam Guhayam. We have finished that portion. Satyam Jnanam Anantam we have finished. Okay. So Brahman is, it cannot be revealed, pure Brahman, okay, pure, this is a side point. Brahman, you see, we went up to Anandamaya Kosha. Anandamaya Kosha is the last Kosha before Brahman. Now in Anandamaya Kosha, that Ananda is mixed up with the awareness principle. It is mixed up with the consciousness principle. That is the last point. See, in Annamaya, there is consciousness. Pranamaya, there is consciousness. Manomaya, there is consciousness. Vijnanamaya, there is consciousness. Ultimately, in Anandamaya is the subtlest. Whenever we experience happiness, in that happiness, there is awareness. Up to that, we have seen. But that awareness, pure awareness, what Upanishad says is, it cannot be revealed by the sense organs. Anandamaya Kosha is a container. But what is it actually, what is the content of that Anandamaya Kosha? Suppose you all say that I experience happiness in the world, time to time. But I want to know what is real happiness, what I want to know, I want to enjoy Nitya Sukham. All of us. See, we all enjoy temporary happiness. But if you really ask yourself, you want to really enjoy Nitya Sukham. Nitya Sukham is not something which can be understood, which can be which is an experiential Ananda because it belongs to, it is Atma Ananda. That is what here it's a point we should understand that is being brought out here. So the content of this Anandamaya Kosha is this awareness principle. So from Pratibimba Ananda, we have to go to Bimba Ananda. Bimba Ananda means what? It is the nature of that Sakshi. By nature, it is happy. That is why they say that if you know that you are that immortal Brahman, that immortality itself is blissful. Because that is the nature. Ultimately, Upanishad says that you are Brahman, which is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Anantam means this Nitya Ananda. And that can be, how do we use this Anandamaya Kosha to recognize Atma? See, we have gone up to that Anandamaya, the fifth, the subtlest level. How do I use now to jump into that Atma from Anandamaya? How do I do it? Shankaracharya says that the only way you can come to that Atma principle from Ananda is by claiming I am the original Brahma Ananda, which is seeing the reflection of myself in this world. It's a very tricky point. It's a very subtle point, but this is how Shankaracharya explains it. Don't try to look for the original face in meditation. Don't try to look for that Atma as a separate object of perception. See, our mind is normally trained to see objects in the world. Everything is converted to an object and then we perceive. But when it comes to the subject, you have to claim, I am that original. That is why the famous verse, Aham Brahmasmi, is the way to understand Atma. Okay, so this is how the study happens in the Bhashyam, where Priya, Moda, Pramoda, happiness, greatest happiness, all of them, they have an Adhisthana. There is a substratum from which all this is projected. In my mind, when I experience any happiness, it is a projected Ananda. It is not the original Ananda. Original Ananda is only one. There is no gradation possible in original Ananda. Pratibimba Ananda, Bimba Ananda. There is a separate thing. What is the meaning of these two words? Reflected Ananda, reflected happiness, and original happiness. Original happiness is called as Lakshyata, indicative meaning of happiness. Pratibimba Ananda is experienceable. So don't ask for, can I experience Ananda of Atma? It is not possible. It can be, because it happens to be the Adhisthana. In order to experience happiness, you need the mind. Without the mind, you cannot experience anything. That principle you should keep in mind. What is the principle? Without the mind, there is no word called as Anubhava. Anubhava doesn't exist without the mind. It is always with the mind. And the mind is always limited. Therefore, I cannot experience Atma. Because Atma happens to be Nitya. It is a permanent thing, which is a changeless principle in the universe. Okay, see, all these portions are very, very subtle, very abstract. But if you understand, if you have a sukshma buddhi, a sharp mind, you will be able to understand the link of all this with the Upanishad. As you study more and more, you will enjoy the depth of this study. You see, when you study first time, you don't get into such a big depth, but slowly, slowly you pick up what is the line of thinking of the Upanishads. What we are studying is very, very divine principle. It is the cause. It is the cause of the entire universe, and this is the Lord's form. That is what we are trying to study. So anywhere else, Brahman is not available only, but it is available only as Sakshi of the mind. Whenever I become aware of my mind, you should say, I am the Sakshi, I am objectifying this mind in this body. But can you objectify mind in all the bodies? That is a question which all the students ask. It's not possible because mind and body are connected. Mind and body are connected together, and behind them is this Sakshi. So this verse is our study 263. This is what we are doing. From this Satchidananda Brahman, the whole world is projected and resolved. Okay. Okay, there are some more points here which are not so relevant, so I'm leaving them. This is the revision portion. I won't take this. This is what we have covered so far. See, only when mind and consciousness, they combine, then only self-awareness is possible. We can't say that I am conscious like in sleep. We can't say in sleep that I am conscious principle alone and there. This is what I was trying to tell you, that the mind is always required to say that I am conscious, to say. But mind and consciousness both are required, and then only awareness of the self and the awareness of the world comes out. So the I, the self-awareness, has got three constituents, which is Chit, Chidabhasa, and mind. These three portions are very important. These are the constituents of all our experiences. Without these three factors, you cannot experience anything in the world. Matter principle without the mind has no self-awareness. For example, we cannot say that the wall has got self-awareness. It cannot recognize other people. But I can recognize. So what is the difference between the wall and me? I am the matter principle with a mind. That makes me a living being. Same thing with animals also. They are also consciousness with the matter principle. It's a mixture of consciousness and matter. Wall is only matter. It has got only the Sat aspect. It exists. From Brahman, it has got the Sat aspect, whereas a human being has got the Sat and Chit aspect. Therefore, awareness in a human being is very, very high, and that is why they say that only human beings can understand and become free from and can get moksha because of the study of Upanishads. They can apply the Upanishads in their intellect to understand I am not the intellect, I am the Sakshi. Okay. In the Vyavahara, there is a Jiva Bhava and Sakshi Bhava. Okay. The Jiva Bhava is whenever I'm eating, running, doing some work in the kitchen, in the office, in all this time, I am a Jiva. This Jiva, Jagat, and Ishvara, this three is there in Vyavahara. This three together is called as triangular form. What is the meaning of Sakshi Bhava? Sakshi Bhava is only when I am doing Nididhyasana or Dhyanam. When I have dropped Vyavahara and I am asking the question, who am I? Only at that time you become Sakshi Bhava. Sakshi Bhava is also in the Vyavahara only, but it is only when you do Dhyanam. That's what Shankara is expressing here. Okay, Amrit Bandhu Upanishad is a very famous Upanishad, and this is the most famous verse of that Amrit Bindu Upanishad. It's a very small, tiny, minor Upanishad. But in that Upanishad, Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo. Mind alone is the cause of bondage. Mind alone is the cause of freedom. This is a very important statement. Contemplate on this. Mind alone is the cause of bondage. Mind alone is the cause of freedom. How do I understand this? Upanishad itself teaches us. When the mind is attached to the sense objects through the sense organs, then it is cause for bondage. Because desires are born. When the same mind is experiencing the sense objects, but there are no desires, that mind is a free mind. See, very beautiful verse. You can go, you can contemplate on this. Very, very important verse of Amrit Bindu Upanishad. A similar idea is given in Bhagavad Gita also. In the 6th chapter, all these verses will come. Uddharet atmanam atmanam, natmanam avasadayet, atmaiva atmana bandhuhu, atmaiva rupuratmanaha. See, all these are teaching us the importance of using your mind and intellect to realize the nature of Brahman. How to claim that, how to drop the mind and say, Aham Brahma Asmi. Manifested portion of Brahman is this matter principle. Unmanifest portion is this pure Sakshi principle. So the Sakshi status of mind is what is to be understood from the Upanishads. I have to retain the Sakshi Bhava and drop the Jiva Bhava. Jiva is the one who is interacting with the world and all that. That is going on. But at the same time, I should say, I am the Sakshi. The Jiva Bhava goes only when I retain the Sakshi Bhava. These are all very fine teachings of Shankaracharya. When will I become Sakshi? When the Jiva Bhava goes, then only I can retain this Sakshi Bhava. So it takes time. It is not that the Jiva Bhava, today I have studied Taittriya Upanishad, tomorrow I will be able to understand this and become Brahma Bhava. It's not possible, but it's a slow process. It's a gradual process. And as you listen more to the Upanishad, I keep saying, you will accept this nature which the Upanishad is bringing out as your nature, as you will retain it in your subconscious mind. There are 3 levels: waking time, where you retain the Jiva Bhava, you go through the triangular format, and you are a Pramatru Bhava. That means you are an experiencer. Then there is Upasana time. Upasana time means when you meditate. In the meditation, what you do, you drop the Jiva Bhava and you claim, I am the Sakshi Bhava. At that time, what happens? It is not the triangular format. What happens then? I am the Sakshi and the whole world is Sakshyam. This is what is called as binary format. I am the Sakshi and the whole world. When I say whole world means what? My body, mind is also a part, is pushed into the world. It is pushed into the Anatma Jagat. So Atma Anatma is binary format. Then the last level is pure consciousness. I am not Sakshi also, but I am Brahman. This is what is called as Advaitam. The word Advaitam is extremely important at the highest level of teaching. And Shankaracharya, he devotes one full chapter in Mandukya Upanishad with 48 verses. 48 verses to explain one word. What is it? Advaitam. Because Advaitam is our nature. It is given out by Mandukya Upanishad. What is our nature? Advaitam. Advaita means what? I am the consciousness principle. I am Satya. What is the world? What is the body? What is the mind? What are all my experiences? They are there. They are relatively real, vyavaharically real. That is why it is called as Mithya. At the highest level, you have to come to Advaitam Brahma. These are the three levels of spiritual journey. As you learn, as you understand the Upanishads, you will be able to go from simple level of a Jiva Bhava to Brahma. Jiva Bhava, Sakshi Bhava, Brahma Bhava. Jiva Bhava is all of us. We are in the Jiva Bhava when we start the journey. When we are somewhere in the middle, we try to understand I am Sakshi, the world is Sakshya. And ultimately, I have to understand I am that Sakshi, which I am saying, is Satyam, and Sakshyam is Mithya. When you reach that level, what happens? There is only that Brahman. The Sakshi becomes Brahman. Brahman is, you see, we use these terminologies just to make subtle differences at the higher level. Okay, the unitary format is this pure consciousness format. So triangular format, binary format, unitary format. This is the takeaway for today's talk. What have I learned all throughout in all this talk today? I have to grow from triangular format to binary format to the unitary format. Take this as a takeaway for today's talk. It's a very important talk we have gone through, and how to realize this ultimate. See, we are in the towards the end of the first chapter, where Shankaracharya, through his understanding of Advaita principle, is trying to take us from Jiva Bhava to Sakshi Bhava to Brahma Bhava. So, how do you meditate? You say, I am not the Pramata. Pramata means what? Knower of the world. I am not the Sakshi. Whenever there is a Pramata, there is the Sakshi. And then what you say, I am not the Sakshi, I am Brahman. Okay? This is how you end up uh, the study, how we understand the final portion of the Taittriya Upanishad. These are all beautiful sections. They are very, very important sections. That's why I've gone into the depth of this. Go back and relearn this section more carefully through the notes and so on if you are very serious about it. Vichara Sagara, I will just see whether I can. I've got another 9 minutes left. I will just try to explain this portion of Vichara Sagara. Okay, this explains how a grahanam takes place in Vichara Sagara. I won't go into the depth of it. You can just read the notes. It's not so important. It is explaining because you see, this is useful to understand. This is the verse I was talking to you about, Dakshinamurti Stotram. Nana chit khatodara stitamaha deepak prabhavaswaram. This is where you understand the reflection of consciousness, this verse of Dakshinamurti, and how the entire Chidabhasa, how the sense organs are active, all that is understood. This whole principle comes from Dakshinamurti Stotra. You know, this the reflection, Abhasavada, Avachedavada, all that is there in this one stotra. Chaitanyam has got a relationship with the mind as well as the objects. But what is the relationship with the mind and what is the relationship with the objects? That is what is given here. See, this 263, the Bhashyam, the commentary is so big. It's like the commentary of Shankaracharya for the 13th chapter in Bhagavad Gita, the 3rd verse. Kshetram, all the Kshetrams have got one Kshetra. 3rd verse of 13th chapter, very long commentary. Similarly, in Keno Upanishad, Pratibodham has got the longest commentary. Similarly here, this commentary of 263 is a very, very big commentary. Okay, now here, the relationship between consciousness and mind. Consciousness directly reveals the mind. As soon as you wake up in the morning, you become aware of your mind. First thing, you try to check tomorrow. Do I become aware of the body or the mind? Everybody will say, I become aware of the mind. After you say, yes, the mind, then the mind is in the body. Mind is connected to the body. So, Sakshat revelation, direct revelation, therefore, mind is closest to Chaitanya. Sannikarsha, directly connected to Chaitanya. Avabhasakatvat. Avabhasakatvat means it directly reveals mind. What about the sense objects, worldly objects, which is including my body? It is an indirect revelation. Parampara. Wall is further away from Chaitanya. Vrityastha Chidabhasa envelops the wall. Vritti envelops the body. Vritti envelops all the objects in creation. See, this one small little thing which Shankaracharya teaches us, this itself will take us directly to Chaitanya. Understanding how this creation is. This is an explanation of Dakshinamurti 4th mantra, Nana Chit Khatodara Stitamaha. See, this one, how does it, see, you have to travel from our body-mind complex to mind. From mind, you have to go to reflected consciousness. From reflected consciousness, you have to go to consciousness. Everything which we perceive, including our body, is vritti, is involved with thought. Without a thought, all our perceptions are through the sense organs. The sense organs, they bring all the sense objects to the mind. in the form of thoughts. And the thoughts have got a connection with consciousness. This is the science behind the spiritual study. Okay. Antakarana is a means for locating Brahman. Our mind is a means, is an instrument. Instrument for what? It is an instrument to see the world also. It is an instrument to connect to the source also. That is what Shankaracharya says in this particular commentary, portion of the commentary. He says, mind, Brahman's and mind is a very, very important aspect of Brahman's entry into the world and also Brahman's resolution of the world. Okay. For those who are very serious, you can go through this. This is the actual translation of Shankaracharya's Bhashyams. See, all these portions which I have in the notes, they are the actual translations. And then these notes, you have to understand the translations. Like a light illumines a pot, similarly, our mind is illumined by Atma. That is how you should understand the nature of Brahman. Vyanjaka and Vyanjam. Vyanjaka means the mind. Vyanjam means what is revealed is Brahman. Through the mind, operations of the mind, you have to reach Vyanjam. What is revealed? Revealed is the consciousness. Okay, this is okay. This portion is the revision of what we have discussed. I will skip this. Okay. After creating the universe and mind, in the mind alone, Brahman enters as Sakshi. Okay. We have seen this, mind Chidabhasa and Chit. I will start next week with this portion. So I just want to explain to you the two knowers. This is an important aspect which comes in Vichara Sagara. I will start next week with this 741 slide. And see, this is what we are seeing in 40 verses, 40 pages slides is all Bhashyam of the sixth Anuvaka, the third mantra of the sixth. We're still continuing in the same Anuvaka. This is an important portion. How there are two knowers in this body. One knower is Sakshi. Another knower is the mind. What is the difference between Sakshi knower and the mind knower? We are going to discuss this next week. Okay. We'll close this as of today. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Harihi Om. Okay. There are a few questions in the chat box. I will take that up first and then I'll open up for discussions. Okay, the first one is from Vibhuti. He says, I have a simple but a silly doubt. No doubt is silly in Vedanta. Everything is serious. Okay. Normally, mutual superimposition is possible with similar type of entities, Atma or Brahman or consciousness being the subject without any attribute. How can the material or Maya or Anatma be superimposed on Atma, since both the entities are completely dissimilar? Good question. Okay, this is answered in the Adhyasa Bhashyam of Shankaracharya. This what your is a direct question. If you study my Adhyasa Bhashyam notes, uh, this is a direct question which is answered in the Adhyasa Bhashyam. It's a very important commentary of Shankaracharya on Adhyasa, superimposition. Uh, okay, your question is very correct. Normally, superimposition is possible with similar entities. Now, when we say there is a superimposition of creation on Brahman, this is a method of teaching. Ultimately, what you have to understand, actually, there is no superimposition also, Brahman alone is. This is a step. This is a stepping stone. Adhyasa is a stepping stone to discover that Brahman, which alone is. You are right. Since both entities are dissimilar, this is the same question which is asked. How can there be a superimposition of consciousness and matter? Your question is, both entities are completely dissimilar. Dissimilar means matter is body. How can it be superimposed on consciousness? The reality is what it alone is. This Abhasa theory, this superimposition theory is helpful for me to understand that all our experiences are mithya. The objective behind this superimposition explanation, remember what is the goal? The goal is what? Dream, if I give you this example of dream, it will be very clear. Dream, in the dream, there is a dream world. The dream world is inert. It is created by my mind, which is sentient mind. So consciousness creates and projects in me the dream world. And then I experience the dream world. How do I explain dream? In the waking state, how do I explain to myself, oh, I had a dream yesterday night. It was real when I was experiencing. But now when I'm in the waking state, it is unreal. From the waking state, I try to explain the dream. In order to explain the dream in the waking state, I say it is a superimposition on the waker. Now, if you have understood this portion, it is easy to understand the second portion. The second portion is what? Now I am experiencing the waking, but I don't understand this waking. I want to know in the waking state, who am I? What the Upanishad says is, you are Atma, you are Brahman. It is like the dreamer trying to ask and trying to understand the waker. Similarly, in order to understand and drop this waking state, Upanishads use this superimposition theory. From the Atma level, you're supposed to climb to the Atma level. What is Atma level or Brahman level? I alone am. Mayeva sakalam jatam, mai sarvam pratishtita. Drop this waker hold. Drop this body. Become consciousness. Right now, you tell yourself, I am consciousness. I have dropped my body. I have dropped my when I drop my body, automatically the world is dropped, because the world is experienced only with the help of body. This waking world is experienced only with the help of body and the mind and the sense organs. Suppose I say I am not the body and mind, who am I? I am the consciousness. Now, remaining in consciousness, how do I explain? Because ultimately the intellect, our intellect, will not accept till it gets convinced that the intellect itself is a part of the mithya world. The intellect has to understand, it has to drop the intellect and claim the source of the intellect, and and in order to do that, we say it is a superimposition. Am I clear, Vibhuti?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, is it clear? The exact,
Yeah, it is clear, sir. And further, I will go through your notes on Adhyasa Bhasyam.
That's correct. You see,
Thank
try
you.
to go through my notes on Adhyasa Bhashyam, because it's very, very deep. Okay, you will understand it much better the moment you understand. You go to Adhyasa Bhashyam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, but always keep in mind the example of dream. Whenever you try to study Adhyasa, you should always keep in mind how does the dream happen with reference to the waker, and how does the waking happen with reference to Atma.
Sure.
Okay, this connection you have to establish. The moment you see the connection between dream and waker as a superimposition, the whole dream experience is a superimposition on the waker. Similarly, the waking experience is a superimposition on Atma, which is a higher nature, which is the what the Upanishad is trying to reveal to us.
Yes.
And if you understand Adhyasa, you have understood the whole Vedanta.
I will go through it, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, next is Manikandan. Is Sakshi Bhava Sakshi Bhava is still in Dvaitam? Yes, Sakshi Bhava is always in Dvaitam. When you say I am Sakshi and the waker, dreamer, sleeper is Sakshyam, that means there is Dvaitam. Only when I go to Brahma Bhava, then it is Advaita. Okay, is it clear, Manikandan? Once I am in Sakshi Bhava, I am aware of all these Jiva Bhavas are Adhyasa only, and hence not true. However, I come to Jiva Bhava, keeping my substratum as a kindly comment if understood correctly. Yes, you are right. Okay, before that, Manikandan, have I answered your question? Okay. I will, Manikandan probably, he can answer by way of a chat. Okay. Manikandan, you can just say yes or no in the chat box, yeah? Now, next is Amyanshu. Amyanshu, what he says is, once I'm in Sakshi Bhava, I'm aware that all these Jiva Bhavas are Adhyasa, and hence not true. Yes, you're right. However, for transactional purpose, I come to Jiva Bhava, keeping my substratum as Sakshi Bhava. If this is understood correctly, yes, you have understood very correctly. Okay, that's a correct interpretation. Well done. You have understood. I'm glad you have brought this up, because this is a very deep question. Good. It's a correct understanding. Amyanshu, you have anything else on this?
Yes. Now this Sakshi Bhava and Brahma Bhava, basically no difference except duality dissolves into singularity.
That's correct. Duality resolves into singularity.
That is Brahma Bhava. Once it
correct.
is
that is
Brahma
what
Bhava,
is called as Brahma Bhava.
and
Very
that
good.
is everything. Rest all with the same.
Yes, that's how you go from Jiva Bhava, Sakshi Bhava, Brahma Bhava.
No,
Good. Okay, the next question is from Manikandan. He is asking, is superimposition of matter with consciousness similar to understanding the rope inert as snake consciousness principle? Is superimposition of matter with consciousness? Yeah. Okay. When you understand rope, snake, and rope, you keep the rope snake, you take it only from the, you see, this rope snake and rope example is a very, very detailed and a very, very important drishtanta example in the Veda. What you should understand is that a rope snake is a superimposition, but it is on what? It is on the rope. Only up to this you should take. That's all. Don't try to go beyond the example. Rope snake is a projection of my mind on the rope, which is the adhishthana. Similarly, Atma is the adhishtanam. The entire Jagrat Prapancha is a superimposition on Atma. Okay? So, so no problem, Manikandan. You can follow his Sakshi's aim as mind. Okay, that's correct. What is the difference between Sakshi and Brahman? Aren't both the same? Good. Yeah, it's a good, very good question, Gopa. Sakshi and Brahman. Okay. This is exactly what was asked by the other person also, unitary and duality. You see, what you have to understand is, again, I'll explain to you, the three visions you should have. What is the first vision? The first vision is Jiva Bhava. I am a Jiva with a body and mind, which is undergoing experiences of the world. As a mother, as a sister, as a daughter, as so many people, so many relationships. But what is the common denominator of all this? I am a Jiva in this body. What is the definition of Jiva? Jiva's definition is consciousness plus the mind. That consciousness plus the mind comes into this body every day when we wake up. And then it uses the sense organs and conducts the vyavahara, the transactions during the world, during the waking state. Again, in the night, what happens? I go to sleep. The sense organs transactions with the world, which is a marketplace, that stops. When that stops, what happens? My mind has become quiet. Where does the mind go? It goes back into unmanifest condition, into Sakshi. So Jiva is nothing, is only when the body and the world are in front. Okay? Now, what is Sakshi Bhava? This is the second level of understanding. Sakshi means that I don't look at myself with reference to the world, but I only stop with the mind. When I take myself, mind, and the sense organs and the world, it is Jiva. Now I have dropped the world, I have dropped the sense organs, I am now with the mind only. So what happens to me? For example, I am sitting quietly, I have closed my eyes. Okay, I have closed my eyes, I am in meditation. Meditation means what? It is a natural process which is happening in the body and mind. When the sense organs are closed, automatically I, the Sakshi, the witness which exists in this body, is experiencing the thoughts in the mind. This is called as Sakshi and the mind. This is Dvaitam. Earlier it was the triangular formula. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, all that was there whenever all the things existed. So Jiva Bhava is different, Sakshi Bhava. Sakshi Bhava is I alone with my mind am there. Okay. Now, after this, you have to bring in Vedanta. What you have to say is, I am Sakshi only when my thought mind is there, but there is an experience which I have when there is no mind also, which is the sleep state. So you have to bring the knowledge of Vedanta. Vedanta is to be used like a pramanam. It is the light. What do you have to do? You have to say, whenever there is mind, the I in this body becomes Sakshi. But when the mind is not there, I alone am there. There is no duality between Sakshi and mind. There is only unitary principle, which is called as Advaitam. That unitary principle is called as Brahman. Okay, so you have to come from Jiva Bhava to Sakshi, and from Sakshi, you have to come to Brahman. What is the difference between Sakshi and Brahman? Aren't both the same? No. In Vedanta, we use Sakshi only up to the point of the world being experienced. Suppose you say, I alone exist, which the Veda, see, Veda is trying to make me discover my real nature. My real nature is not even Sakshi, because Shankaracharya says Sakshi means it is a term used for I, then Sakshyam is there. Suppose you are not in front of your son or daughter, you are not the mother. Suppose your daughter is in front, your son is in front of you, then you are called as mother. Suppose your own mother is there in front of you, you are called as daughter. But suppose all three are not there, who are you? I am neither the mother, I am neither the daughter, I am consciousness, Brahman. I am the pure consciousness. So Sakshi is with reference to Sakshyam. Brahman is the ultimate absolute reality. It is not relative. See, Sakshi is always with reference, I'm a Sakshi of the waking state. I am a Sakshi of the dream state. I am that Sakshi of the sleep state. I'm a witness of the sleep state, witness of the dream state, witness of the waking state. But this witnesshood itself is to be dropped and then say, I am the witnessless consciousness. When you say that, it is called as Brahman. It is the same principle of consciousness. Same consciousness when we are experiencing the world or the mind, it is given different names. So, Gopa, have you understood?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good.
you.
Very good. Okay, I finished all the questions, I think. Now, Shanta, you can ask your question. Go ahead.
Yes, Dhanyavad Mahoday. I think today I really enjoyed the talk, I must say, and I was completely having that feeling of that little getting into the depth of understanding of this Brahman principle. And I would say one thing which I really, for me today, was changing principle was when you said that when you look at yourself as reflection, because I think that is much more easier than claiming yourself as Brahman. because I think for me that is it would be, calling myself a Sakshi is maybe easier, but that still leaves that duality as you mentioned.
Correct,
But
correct.
if I see everything as reflection, I
Yes.
think it's much more closer to getting to Brahman. I mean, that's what
Yeah,
it's
many
something
people
which
they
struck
accept it.
me.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's
Uh,
a perfect understanding. Correct.
yeah, so therefore, I think that will be much more easier for me. Just like as I said, that the reflection principle really stuck in my mind, and I think this will help me to get to that next level, which I want to. So my question today is, regarding the anupravesha of Bhagwan. Now, we can understand the reflection of the sun in water or in all places, right? Where it is different, where you don't have to create, but there is a creation which is illuminated. Now, when we talk about Bhagwan, or when we say about Brahman, when the creation and the creator is one and the same, and so it, and then we also say that the creation is mithya. So um, I'm just a bit of, I mean, I need clarity is if the creation itself is mithya, then how is that anupravesha, the reflection is in the mithya? So this, I'm
Good,
just
good,
trying
good,
to
good.
get
It's a
that
good. Yeah, yeah. It's
sentiency.
good. You see, in the next few pages, you will get an answer from Shankaracharya itself. What he is saying, going to say in the end, I'm telling you now,
Hmm.
is he says that this reflection also is not true. This is also is mithya. Reflection itself, that is why he says it is a seeming reflection. It is not
Hmm.
even, that is why he is going to say it is an abhasa of the mithya itself. So ultimately, you have to drop this seeming theory, this whole creation theory itself.
Yeah, because that is what I felt at this
Yes,
point when you start talking about
that's a correct
anupravesha.
understanding. That's a final correct understanding. But we have
Okay.
to go through this process to arrive at that.
Hmm. So at some point I
You
will,
have
yeah.
understood correctly. So ultimately, what Shankaracharya, in the end of this whole section, is going to say that even this reflection is only an abhasa. It is only a mithya. It is only, even that what we are calling it as a reflection itself is all things mithya, but nothing else. That is why Brahman is Satya.
Hmm. So my next question on that, I mean, this is where I had that confusion of, if the Brahman is, I mean, if that reflection and mithya, how would it be possible? Then why do we believe that, or why do we accept that there are 14 lokas?
That is only a
Because,
stepping stone, only a stepping stone, nothing else. You see, for a normal for a normal person to accept that pure Brahman is extremely subtle, very difficult. So the Upanishad itself comes down to the level of a jiva. And then it says that there are 14 lokas, but you don't focus on those 14 lokas. Drop the 14 lokas. These are all stepping stone. You see, Shankaracharya explains this in other Upanishad. He this question what you're asking is why we are talking about 14 lokas and all these subtle elements, and then you're talking about the from Akasha came Vayu and all that. Why all
hmm,
these details is given in the Upanishad? Shankaracharya explains that it is the Upanishad comes to the level of a jiva. It comes to the level of our levels and says that from our level we only understand this today. We only understand this world which is in front of me, and then through the Veda Pura portion, I understand there are 14 lokas, and then there are Sarga Loka and all that. And you can go and all that, but these are all in the lower portions. What you are now coming is higher, the highest knowledge about this world.
hmm,
So your question is why all this creation and so on? It is only as a stepping stone. don't take it as the ultimate teaching.
No, that is true. But when we talk about Vedas, when the Vedas were, I mean, they were vibrations or, sounds from the universe as they were written by the rishis. My thing is, even there was no need for us to have all these 14 lokas. We could just make our life a bit more less complicated by
Oh,
thinking,
okay.
yes, there
Then,
is only
yeah,
one bhuloka, and then we can just carry on and
yeah,
just
correct. You see,
go.
for this, I don't have an answer. The what I've heard from the other acharya is that take it as a stepping stone. I mean, we can't, we don't know the answer to some of these, but we have to take, for example, uh, this is how the acharyas also explain. They say that, you see, if the snake, which is a mithya, why are you going to the details of the snake, whether it is a poisonous snake and not a poisonous snake, whether it is this brand of snake or that brand of snake? Why are you going to the detail? He says these are all happening in the mithya world, but it is not satya. So the way you take this entire teaching is that all this is useful to us in the mithya world. It is there in the mithya world. It has got purpose in the mithya world. The lokas and this thing are there in the mithya world. Like you have a utility value of the dream also in the dream. So similarly, there is a utility for that in the waking state for the jivas. There are some jivas who are not interested to come to this Vedanta at all. For them, this is useful. They will still work hard and do the rituals, and then they go to Swarga Loka. It is also there. It exists, but it is for a different category of people.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good. I don't feel like leaving the Taittriya Upanishad like this and then jumping on to Katha Upanishad. But anyway, let me see how I end on the 13th. So we have another 3 sessions, 4 sessions, I think. We'll see how it goes. Then I'll tell you what will be the program after that. So there will be, today is the 18th, and we have next, our last session will be on, so 18th, 25th, there is a session, 2nd of December, 9th of December, will be a session. So 3 more sessions are there. Okay. So let's see how we can take up this Taittriya Upanishad. I'll continue the same next week and try to see if I can finish at least the first chapter, but I don't think I'll be able to finish the second chapter. Okay, thank you. Good night.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
So,